This week we got a true weekly update. The companion app is 100 times more useful, the Reef Social Space Leak, and more on DTS 34.
You're listening to Destiny the Show. Welcome, Guardians.
What is up, everyone? BBK Dragoon here with Destiny the Show number 34. Joining me as always is Ditty. How was your week?
Snow-filled. We had a couple snow days down here in Texas. The first 2 days, it was more icy, and all my classes were canceled, and I didn't have to go into work, so that was nice. And then, actually, yesterday, we got real snow. It's powdery, and it hasn't iced over since, this morning, and it was nice. It's still nice. Wow. I love it. We got about 4 or 5 inches, which is unheard of.
Ooh, we got 28 this last week, so we're doing okay. And there's more on the way. It's snowing right now, too, which is cool. So did you have a Destiny day during that snow day?
Oh, absolutely. I played so much Destiny this week. It was ridiculous.
Epos got a PlayStation 4, so he has joined the Destiny Master Race and definitely wants to give it a try with you.
Nice.
Patch 1.1.1 was released, so for people who are not in the know, 1.1.1 had a lot of changes to it. Mainly weapon balance. I would say that probably is the biggest end of the spear here, wouldn't you say?
Weapon balance and heavy ammo glitches are patched.
Well, the ammo bug was patched, yeah. Which is cool. It introduced another glitch with one of the weapons. Did you see that?
Which one?
Oh, I can't remember. If I pulled up Planet Destiny right now, I guarantee there's 18 listeners who are like, gosh, these guys know absolutely nothing about Destiny. Why are they doing this podcast for me? But yeah, 1.1.1's out. The weekly update was simply amazing this week. In fact, I'd love to just get into the news. Want to remind our listeners to head over to DestinyTracker.com to check out their leaderboards, looking for group, model, and shader viewer, and more. It's a great website that allows you to look at your character, find out what your score is, tons of data about the different activities that you've partaken in, and also they have a top 5 PvP play series, which is pretty cool. If you're familiar with any of the older like Halo top 5 play videos or COD top 5 plays, they showcase from the community the best multiplayer performance moments from the players within their community, and you yourself can submit a clip, which is really cool. So we're going to have the link for that on our website, destinytheshow.com. You can also just search Destiny Tracker's top 5 plays, and you'll find that page. And it's really cool because, man, people are creative, and some people just do things that are absolutely out of this world. So if you have a clip that you're holding on to or that you've wanted to share with the world, you think it's worthy, submit that clip to Destiny Tracker's top 5 PvP plays. Now, Ditty, I was a little bit bummed about last week's weekly update, and in general, I was a little bit tired in last week's show. I was a little bit sick. You could hear it in my voice. So I felt a little bit like Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh at the end of the show, where I was just like, man, I didn't say much positive. Well, bam! This week's update was amazing. I loved all the stuff that we got. So we're going to break it down first. Mobile Vault has become available. Well, the companion app has basically just become about 10 million times more useful for me. Something that I've really not cared about up until now has become the forefront of a useful tool, a quality of life benefit for players. What did they do, Ditty?
They added the functionality to move weapons from your inventory to your vault / equip different weapons to your character mobily, and it happens in real time. There's no queue or anything for, you have to log out of Destiny and relog in. It's none of that. It happens real time. You can have Destiny open right there. You can have your mobile device, your iPad, whatever, your phone, right in front of you. You can even do it in your web browser on Bungie.net, which I think is a little bit faster. And you can just do it right there in front of your face, and it's super quick, and it allows you to bypass the long loading screen from Orbit to the Vault.
Yeah, so let me give an example why this is extremely useful. I run 2 characters, Ditty runs 3 characters, most of my friends run 3 characters, and they pass along the gear that they're trying to level up or the gear that they want to use between the characters. In order to previously do that, you'd have to load into the character that had the weapon you wanted, take him to the tower, put it in the vault, log out, get on the character you want to go to the tower, pick up that weapon. That process took forever, man. And if you're doing it multiple times throughout the night, which most players were, it is so much time wasted, and it's just a really frustrating process, right? Well, now you could do it all from your phone. It's important to note, too, that if you are not in a combat zone, like if your character is in an area where he's not under combat or fire, you can actually get weapons from your tower to the character, according to the example that was given in the weekly update, which is really cool. Now, have you put this into practice yet, Ditty? Have you been using this?
I used it on the browser yesterday or this morning, and it's very useful, but unfortunately I have a Windows phone, so I can't use it on my phone because there's not a Windows Phone version of the application. So, oh well there, but it is very useful, I think.
Yeah, here are a few scenarios in which we think you'll find this handy, and this was given right out of the update. So I quote, "You and your buddies are finally all online at the same time, about to tackle the nightfall. Then one player realizes there's a solar burn and he wants to go get his icebreaker from another character. Well, he can now do that using the app benefit. Let's say you're standing in front of Zur and you're 2 coins short. Your hunter just completed the weekly heroic strike and you're not logged in on it, but he's got that extra coin you need. Tap, tap, purchase. That easy." I love this, man. This is a huge quality of life benefit, and it's one of those things that I didn't think was going to be coming to the game like at this point, and it's just cool to see that this technology exists, because if they can do this, imagine what else they can do. And like, I stroke my chin. So yeah, it's cool. It's a very nice little bit of an update. So instructions on all that, just go to destinyshow.com. You can click the link, or you can check out the weekly update. They did a good job explaining how it works and showing a nice little gif of how to do it. So Inferno playlists are inbound. Now, we've known about Inferno for a little bit, but Ditty, what is it?
It's basically the hardcore version of Destiny Crucible. No radar.
Yes.
In a few of the playlists, there's no supers, right? And then some of the scoring system is a bit adjusted, and it's just going to be a lot more interesting, a lot more competitive, I think.
Yes, so no radar is the big thing with Inferno. They've removed as many scoring events as possible, and they have also made the mode, they say, much more about getting kills and playing the core objective, which I find sort of interesting. They've sped up the capture times. This is for the Control playlist in Inferno. There will be other playlists, but I think it's Control that's coming first, right?
I think that's, yeah.
Yeah, they're starting with Inferno Control. But basically, the time to capture the zones is sped up. That way, it increases the risk reward, which if you want to capture B, it's going to take less time, basically, than the current Control playlist. I think this is a really good change. I'm curious on your thoughts, Ditty, but I always was the mindset, like, Control taking those hills took so long, it required a huge chunk of your team to actually go and assault it and then hang out there, to where it got, I want to say, stale. I like when capture points take less time, so people are consistently fighting over it through the map. It's one of those things where it's very easy to lose, and so you are constantly moving about the map, and it's a back-and-forth battle kind of a thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to add a little bit more of an emphasis on solo play, I think, because one player will have a greater influence in capturing points. And as a solo player, mostly, I think that's very good because, you know, playing in the Iron Banner, like trying to capture a point by myself, it's just super frustrating when you get like 2/3 of the way there and then you die because one of the enemies just randomly spawn next to you and they happen to have their Nova Bomb available. So it's it definitely is going to add more of an emphasis on one person having a larger influence in the game.
Exactly. Now, we talked about patch 1.1.1 quite a bit in episode 31, which was a good time, but we didn't get into all the nitty-gritty. And one of the things that they've noted in the Inferno patch notes, and this has also gone into effect with patch 1.1.1, is that when you kill an enemy who has heavy ammo, the purple ammo, he no longer drops that ammunition. So previously, if you're in PvP and you kill an enemy who has heavy ammo, he will drop a heavy ammo container, like little on the ground, just for you. No other character can come by and pick that up. That is now gone, which is interesting. I saw some people upset about this, and then some folks who were okay with it. More Console was saying this was a great change, and some of the people from our circle were saying this is a really silly change. Why would they do that? So where do you stand on it? I don't think it's a huge hill to die on, but I'm just curious.
Picture this. I have a corrective measure with Field Scout. That means 100 rounds in the magazine. It takes 3 or 4 bullets with a heavy machine gun to kill somebody, right? That's a lot of kills per clip. If I kill somebody else with heavy ammo, you just replenished the ammo I used to kill you and then some, tenfold. So I could have, in a single Crucible match before this patch, I could have had 500 rounds of corrective measure if I played my cards right. Yes. And that's a little bit unbalanced. So I'm pretty glad that they removed the I'm taking your heavy ammo thing. So I'm very happy with this change, actually, because it adds more of an emphasis on the importance of heavy ammo control as a team, because you need to get that heavy ammo spawn when you're there. You can't rely on, oh, I'll just go to their heavy ammo and then use my super and then pick it up because they picked it up. So
yes. Who's been there in that situation where you pick up the purple and you die immediately? And it's like the worst feeling in the world. You're just like, come on, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. And you just don't get enough time to fire off your rocket or get any shots out of the HMG. Hate that feeling, man. It's awful. There is only one set of heavy ammo crates per match in Inferno Control, which is pretty cool. And dead players don't drop purple bricks. We just mentioned that. But 1 drop per game. This is going to be very gun-on-gun focused. I think their key ploy with this is it's volatile. People can flank much easier because there's no radar. It's gun-on-gun. And then controlling that one heavy ammo drop could be how you win the game. That could be the momentum swing that gives you the edge. Pretty neat, I think.
Yeah,
what do you
absolutely.
feel towards this?
It's definitely, shying away from the fact, oh, I have heavy ammo, I automatically win the game now, because there's only 1 drop of heavy ammo. And like I said, with the heavy machine guns, they're just so powerful in Crucible right now, I think. It's now that they're nerfing heavy ammo, I really think that they're trying to give more of a focus on the primary and secondary gun skill. And that's gone into play with all of the special weapon ammo adjustments in PvP that update 1.1.1 introduced, and they're really trying to balance Crucible a little bit more, because a lot of people are frustrated about, or were frustrated about, the unbalance of the guns. But now that they've nerfed fusion rifles and special weapon,
buff the fusion.
No, they buffed pulse rifles.
Fusion
Fusion
buff
rifles.
the pulse.
They widened the cone a little bit, which we'll talk about a little bit more later. But they're trying to rebalance Crucible to make it a little bit more balanced. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Yeah, and I like it.
It does indeed. It does. Yes, okay. This shows up on March 3rd. Inferno Control will be here for 1 week starting March 3rd. And then to kick off the festivities, they are doing another one of their Bungie bounties. If you want to know more about that, head to the weekly update or go to destinytheshow.com. The maps in the rotation will be The Anomaly, Firebase Delphi, Twilight Gap, Rusted Lands, Shores of Time, Blind Watch, Asylum, The Burning Shrine, The Cauldron, and Pantheon. So they're focusing more on the smaller maps. You're going to have none of the really bigger play spaces available in Inferno Control during the first week. Okay, next piece of news. House of Wolves, the Reef Social Space. So more data mining has been happening. I love how we just keep getting these little tidbits of news here and there. Well, I think this is the same guy who did the huge House of Wolves gear image leaks. I think it's the same person. I'm almost positive. If not, somebody can let me know through Twitter. That'd be great. But we have a picture basically outlining what's known as Reef Social Space. So when you hover over this destination in the director, all it says is Reef Social Space and Reef Social Space description. So they haven't put any of the stuff in there just yet. But it looks like a tower area, basically. 16 other players. This is the amount of folks who can hang out there. If you're unfamiliar, the tower can have 16 players in there. And we have this little GIF, and I'm using PlanetDestiny.com's article for it, so if you go to our website, you can click on it and see. I don't know, Ditty, if you have the GIF up right now, but it's the reef, essentially, and you've got a Guardian walking around in the third-person perspective. The only time you get to see that third-person perspective is in the social spaces or when you're using, like, a special ability or whatever. The Guardian has no weapons out or anything, and you see other Guardians walking around, you see ships in the distance. It does look like an alternative tower. So, speculation time. What do you think this is, and what do you think will be in the reef? Why do we need a second social space?
I have no idea. More vendors. That's the only thing I can think of. You know, there's going to be special items there, like the Queen's Emissary, maybe. Maybe she's going to be the heiress counterpart in the Reef, who gives us quests and different items, and we can exchange different currencies there. That's the only thing I can really think of in terms of the social space, but
maybe it's a play space that they can evolve and work with in a separate template that doesn't affect the current tower, right? So this play space can be a launching ground for future Destiny stuff like Comet and whatever the other 2 DLCs that we're going to be getting this year will be. That's the only thing I can really think of. There's so many creative things they could do with the tower that I would just love to see. Maybe like we've talked about this before with Sassy, having a personal space for your Guardian that is like your spot, almost like a World of Warcraft garrison, but not quite as elaborate, but just a little space that is your spot that you can decorate how you wish. You can put stupid knickknacks in there, just more stuff is basically it. Along with the article, they talk about name changes to certain missions and strikes. So long ago, I think it was show number... Oh, it was the same week. Wow, it was show number 31, the same week we talked about patch 1.1.1. We talked about all the House of Wolves gear and the big leak of stuff, and it basically looks like there's going to be 3 quests available with House of Wolves. More Inferno playlists look to be there, and then Belly of the Beast is the name of the strike that they know right now, and then 3 of the missions are Tracking Quarry, Pact of Wolves, Path of the Traitor. Not that that really means darn near anything to anybody, but listeners, tell us what you think. This is speculation time. Why would there be a Reef Social Space? What could Bungie do with it? And what would you like them to do with it? And that's all the news that we have for today. What's wrong, Ditty?
our 6th didn't show up for Crota's End hard mode, and no one else is on. Guess I'll call it a night. Dang, I really needed those shards for my ult, too.
Whoa there, cowboy! The night's not ruined yet. You can head over to destinytracker.com and click the button at the top that says LFG.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that.
There you can find a ton of Guardians looking to complete all sorts of activities. Just tell the filter which activity you're doing, and it does the rest. It'll tell you all the players who are looking to do the same activity on the same console as you. Then just send an invite, and boom, you're good to go.
Sweet. We just got our 6th faster than it takes to go to orbit. Thanks, DestinyTracker.com.
DestinyTracker.com. Saving raids since 2014. So Ditty patch 1.1.1 was released this week, and let's get into it, man. How do you feel about the weapon changes? Did you play mainly PvE or PvP? I've heard that the shotgun nerf didn't really have the real gravitas that a lot of people expected. Like, I still hear shotguns, as long as you're up in their grill, deals a lot of damage, and that damage fall off they implemented really wasn't super apparent. I've noticed a lot more pulse rifles being used. Pulse rifles do look nasty, but they have a skill curve to them. It's not something that people are now saying they're overpowered. Do you think the assault rifle nerf was good or bad? Where do you stand on the big pillars of this weapon balance?
All right, first off, the shotgun nerf was in Crucible. I think we need to clarify that. It was...
Yes. Well, it was a buff in PvE and a nerf in PvP.
And the nerf was the changes to the special ammo in terms of the starting ammunition that you get. Obviously, if you start with any special ammo, you can pick up more along the way, and there really isn't a change, in my opinion, in terms of how the special ammo affected. It was affected in the Crucible. So I played a free-for-all once I got my universal remote from Xur this week. Every single person was using a shotgun. Literally everybody. And it, 6 people using a shotgun on Rusted Lands, it's going to be a bad time if you have the worst connection. And, it's just, you can use a shotgun as a primary still. You can still use a fusion rifle, even though they don't hit you from so far away. So the ammo changes in the Crucible, I don't think they hit their mark on that. But shotguns in PvE, oh my God, they're the greatest things ever. Because... oh man, running around with the universal remote and secret handshake, 2 shotguns with a rocket launcher in PvE is the greatest feeling ever, because you're just in the enemy's face the whole time, just doing whatever you want. It's hilarious. I actually did the Fogoth strike with shotguns only, and I did Fogoth himself with the universal remote, and it's awesome. It's amazing. Pulse rifles, I think, are what they should have been at launch. They are now in line with every other primary weapon in the game. I'm kind of shying away from hand cannons now because For one, I think I'm going to become a shotgun main because universal remote is just too dang fun to use. But pulse rifles are very good. I was using Bad Juju in the Crota raid, actually, for the Thrallway. Man, it is so much fun to use now because
when they all stack up and
exactly,
you just...
because I don't know what it was, but before this patch, the Bad Juju wouldn't one-shot a Thrall if I hit all 3 rounds in the head. Maybe I didn't have the Bad Juju leveled up enough, or maybe it's just a bad gun, or it was a bad gun. But after this patch, it was one-shotting every single time, and it felt like a bottomless clip. And Bad Juju, in my opinion, is now the best PvE weapon in the game because you don't have to reload it if you get the kill with it. It's amazing. Oh my gosh. So overall, I think this patch really hit its mark, except for the special weapon ammo changes in Crucible. They kind of missed it there, but
I think they wanted it to be subtle. To be honest, I don't think this patch, like, if nobody said anything to a player and they just kept playing Destiny one day, they probably wouldn't notice a difference unless they had a pulse rifle in their hands and they go, oh, wow, that's doing quite a bit more now. That's pretty cool. But outside of that, they were all relatively small tweaks, and I like it. It's a new way to experience the sandbox, but it doesn't throw things off. That's always a risk that they take when you do these kinds of changes. I'm pretty happy with it. I didn't spend a whole lot of time in Destiny this week. I've been busy and sick, but this weekend I'm planning on getting my PvP kicks, and especially when Inferno arrives, I'm really looking forward to it. So overall, I'm giving it a thumbs up. I'd love to see more patches like this, and hopefully with less time in between launch and now. I'm way happier if they're tweaking the sandbox more often rather than doing it, in between these big stages. But it's just, I'm not a designer. I don't know how the philosophy and these probably cost a ton because every time you do a patch, well, their patches don't all have to go through certification. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you leave Destiny very often to actually download a patch outside of the game. You know what I'm saying? A lot of their things they can change on their end, which is fairly cool. So, well, I have no more to talk about 1.1.1. If people want to let us know their thoughts, definitely tweet us. Speaking of which,
It came from Twitter!
time to read your tweets. JP Thy Sing tweets us, how to pass the time in Destiny. Start a new hardcore character. Beginning to 32. Once you die without revive, delete the tune. Oh my gosh, he's going full-on Diablo style right here. Ditty, could you see somebody actually getting all the way to 32 without a single death?
yeah, I mean, well,
It's possible.
Okay, hang on. Since I already have a hunter, if I made a second hunter, I could easily get to 32. Obviously, I just need to get to level 20 and then equip my level 32 gear, right? But getting from 1 to 20 without dying, I think would be pretty difficult because...
That's how you get to the front page of Reddit, right there.
Exactly. There are people who start a new character. There was a video that I saw on Reddit a while back. I forget who it was, but he did the entire Vault of Glass with like a naked, no abilities Guardian. What he basically did was he took his Guardian through the entire skill tree without purchasing anything. So he didn't have the double jump, he didn't have the grenades, he didn't have the melee ability, he didn't have a super, nothing. And he actually went through the entire Vault of Glass with just his guns.
People are like insane creative, man. That would be a good challenge. If somebody does that, you can get to the front page of Reddit, man. And if you do, tweet us a picture of your like companion so we can see 0 deaths, because that would be really cool to see. At Sir Yeti, at Destiny the Show, congrats on number 20 for iTunes. Keep up the great work. That's cool. So we are number 20 in the video games section of podcasts on iTunes. You listeners rock. You're the ones doing this for us. So thank you and welcome everybody who's new. At BTM Dreadnought sends us, is it uncommon to get 3 different exotics in 4 Nightfall strikes? Well, that's better luck than I've had. Jeez. So 3 out of 4 getting an exotic for each Nightfall. Ditty, how's your luck with Nightfalls and the drops?
It's been pretty sucky lately, but this past week was decent, I guess. I mean, I did get 2 out of 3 exotics, but one of the exotics I already had. So 3 out of 4 is actually pretty good, I think. So congratulations.
Excellent. At Reert Gesday, My friend and I found the coolest thing ever, and he sent us a video of a hunter blade dancing across the hellmouth, the big gap, the big hole in the ground. Now, Ditty and I have seen this before, a handful of times. In fact, some of the high-end speedrunners use this trick called blade flying, where basically you can... Well, you can explain it. You're a hunter. I'm not going to try and explain
so when
it.
you pop your Blade Dancer in the air and you just use the melee slash, you can just fly anywhere you want. And I think this video was actually kind of different because he was on top of a different structure than I've seen before. So it was kind of a different area in the Hellmouth that he jumped across, and it's really cool. I mean, you can do it from a couple different spots, and I mean, I haven't done it, but a friend of the show, Lurker Zero, he definitely has. So, yeah, it's fun.
Excellent. At Thomasaurus Rex, to expand on the build an exotic thing. Now, I'm going to pause right here for viewers who haven't heard the previous show. We've been talking on Twitter about this idea, Thomasaurus Rex, where you can pick an exotic and work towards it with a bounty, right? So you can actually, if I want that exotic, I'm going to go through a bounty process and get it. Now he's going to elaborate more on it. So to expand on the build an exotic thing, how about if you complete your second bad juju bounty, you get the weapon and a weapon part, say a scope or a frame. To build the exotic weapon, you would need, say, the frame, a scope, a magazine, a firing pin, and a stock. The weapon will be a random exotic in the game with a very slight chance on the stats, such as a slight higher reload or a slightly higher fire rate. But the big part of it, I would like to have a different camp to stand out from the rest, and the description would read, an exotic forged by the hands of a fellow guardian, insert your gamertag here. What do you think of this? And it's okay to say this idea is bad, as the as bad as the Valis Tariq strike. Man, autocorrect was making that really hard to read. So let me try and parse this out. If I'm completing a bounty for the second time, a second exotic weapon bounty, you would want it to be a different, like, when you complete it the second time, it gives you a piece of a weapon. So if you complete, let's say, 5 bounties, exotic bounties that you've done before, you could then have an exotic that has a specialness to it, that has, like, your gamer tag in it and maybe, like, a special stat roll on it. That's what I'm getting. Did I misread it?
That's my understanding as well. The only other understanding I could think of is the parts that you get for completing the second exotic bounty in a row would be to upgrade your current exotic to be a slightly better version than the one you already have.
Yeah. So you could have tiers of exotics. Oh my gosh. The grind is getting real. I don't know what to think of this, to be honest, man. I think it's easy for me to shoot this down and go, no, I don't think it's a good idea. I like some pieces in here. I like the fact that if you went through a really hardcore process, having in the description of your weapon some personal flair that shows your gamer tag or whatnot, or has a cool little bit about you. But at the same time, I don't want to open up a can of worms to where grinding for an exotic, you're not just grinding to get that exotic, you're grinding to get a certain stat roll of that exotic. You know what I'm saying? I guess it wouldn't be stat roll, it'd be a perk, I guess. So I don't know. What do you think?
You know, I'm always a fan of adding customization options. So if there was a way that I could customize something else in this game, by all means add it in and I'll do it. So I'm a fan. Let's do it.
Okay. Nice. At Freddy TV, just got the Crux of Crota and my third Meta multi-tool. Dude, the Crux of Crota, that thing does not drop off.
I want a Meta multi-tool so bad. I don't care if people say it's just an average scout rifle. I want it because it sounds so cool. It's good. I want it. I'm jealous.
I think Sassy has like a bunch of them.
He got
Only
one
we could
when we were doing
trade.
rock strikes the other week. I was super jelly.
He's got one when I'm with him too. I don't know if I was with you that week, but it's like he just gets stuff. Except a Mythic Last. He hasn't really gotten that. So at Cat at Cat Stash Inc. writes speculation, and he sent us a Reddit link. Here's the long story short: when you kill the oracles in Vault of Glass, or is it when you kill them they do a musical tone?
When they spawn, they do the musical tone.
Yeah, that's right. And they go through a certain scale. It's the C scale,
C
right?
Lydian.
C major.
Yeah.
Lydian. Yeah. Okay. Basically, the stuff they play, the song that they play is the same as the song when you go to orbit. So when they show up, it's the same thing as Help Me. This was a long Reddit post, dude. Did he
I
help?
don't know. I mean, I didn't read the whole thing, but I love anything to do with musical theory and sound theory in games. But it's the post is talking about the potential for an Easter egg to be attached to the music in Destiny and the oracles in the Vault of Glass. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yes.
I wouldn't put Bungie past it to, or I wouldn't put it past Bungie to do something like this.
And there was a correlation because in Halo 3, jumping through the rings had something to do with music.
Sure.
Yeah. Check it out if you're interested. It'll be on the website, guys. Sorry, Kat, I butchered it. At Tweedlevee. Finally, the Destiny app has purpose. You can now use it to swap weapons and collectibles without going to the tower. You are correct, sir, and it is amazing. At Ramsey99, a hunter shirt and the genie. Best day ever. He sent us a picture of him at Disney World hugging the genie wearing a hunter shirt. That is probably the coolest thing we've ever been tweeted, I think. Very cool. At I'm Sassy, easily the best moment in my Destiny career. It's a picture of him splattering somebody in Clash while he's on his Tumbler Sparrow. Very happy about that. Our final tweet comes from @GDuerson. So that companion app update is one of the best things to happen to this game. Keep up the excellent work you both do. Thank you very much. And that is going to wrap up DTS34. Ditty, where can people find your content?
Twitter.com/Ditty, DTS, DITTY, and YouTube.com/Wooshness, WOOOSHNESS.
Excellent. You can follow me on Twitter at BBKDragoon. Subscribe to my YouTube, which is where we post the show, youtube.com/BBKDragoon. I'm going through a brand new starter guide for Guardians who are new to Destiny. This week, I'm talking about getting from level 1 to 20 super fast. Last week, we talked about classes, so there's my shameless self-promotion. You can follow us at Destiny the Show on Twitter. Please tweet us to be seen on the show. DestinyTheShow.com for all the links and more from today. You can follow us on twitch.tv/DestinyTheShow. And you can email us, destinytheshow@gmail.com. And that is going to wrap everything up. You all have a great week. Enjoy patch 1.1.1. And we will see you next time.